I grew up in a household where I was taught that I could be, do, and have anything I wanted in this world as long as I was willing to work for it. And I was told this over and over again, and it was modeled to me by my parents. My dad was an entrepreneur, a very successful entrepreneur and philanthropist, and my mother took care of us, and we were always her highest priority, myself and my 3 siblings. And it paid off. I was always, I was captain of many volleyball teams and did well in school, have 2 degrees, and all the things. And then I became an entrepreneur. And luckily, because I have such understanding parents, they let me move in with them because there was no way I could afford to be in my business full time and also live on my own. And the first few years for me were not easy. My first business failed. The next one did okay. And I couldn't figure it out because I was doing what I was taught, which is working really hard. But it wasn't working out the way that I really wanted it to. And I remember one day my dad was having a conversation with me. And I don't remember that whole conversation, but I remember this gist of it. And he apologized. And he apologized to myself and my siblings for not being as present with us when we were kids. You see, my dad grew up really poor. Sometimes they didn't have heat in their house. And Dad grew up in Newfoundland, Canada. So you can imagine in winter, it's not really fun without heat. And so he was determined that we would have a better life. And we did. We had a wonderful, wonderful upbringing. But when he got older and he was then in his semi-retirement, he had learned a lot over the years, and he had started having some grandkids and really reflected and wished he had done it different, and said to all of us that when we have children to make sure we invest the time with them that he wished he could have invested in us. And I remember around this time also kind of thinking about that and thinking about my life, and I had become a workaholic, and it wasn't really even paying off. I wasn't having the impact I wanted to have. I definitely wasn't making the money I wanted to make. So I thought, you know what? There is a better way, and I'm going to figure it out. And that's when I started to learn about alignment and a concept called flow. And figuring out how to get into alignment so that you could gain access to the solutions and to the answers that you need. And not only that, but to actually enjoy the process. Because I remember this time I wasn't even really enjoying my business. I was just frustrated and stressed and in a lot of lack and wishing that things could be easier. So when I first learned about alignment, I thought it was amazing. And I had to figure out, how do I take this concept that I know to be true in my head and move it into my body so that it is something that I live? Because it's very different to know something intellectually than it is to know it and live it. And as I got to do that, things began to get easier and my life did get better. And so did my business results. And then I was able to pass it on to my clients, and they were able to get it. And the result was that they were enjoying the process of building their business. It was no longer this heavy weight or this burden. It was something they get to do, not something they have to do. And they found their creativity again and their spark again. And I realized that this was a key mover, that this piece of alignment and flow and learning how to be more versus do more is something every entrepreneur needs to learn. And then I thought about what Dad would tell me. You can be, do, and have anything you want as long as you're willing to work for it. And I thought, wait, what if I change that? What if that becomes You can be, do, and have anything you want as long as you're willing to align with it. And when I first said that in my head, I thought, oh, that is the answer. And it was true because I felt it to be true. And I knew that I'd had enough life experience with this concept to know it's true. And so now I'm on a mission to tell every entrepreneur who will listen about this concept and how to apply it, because I believe that entrepreneurs are the change makers of the planet. And the faster that you can learn how to be who you really are and align with that and move yourself out of lack and scarcity and doubt and shame and guilt and move into excitement and focus and drive and trust. And trust is the big one for everyone. When you can move into that, it's game changing in your business. And this is one of the most important business lessons I have learned that I want to pass on to you, my fellow entrepreneur, that yes, you can be, do, and have anything you want as long as you're willing to align with it.